Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Zoe and I make motherhood and lifestyle videos, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about fussy eating and toddlers. So my son is 19 months old now, and pretty much up until 12 months old he was a really good eater. He would eat anything I gave him, fruits, veggies, any dinner that I made, curry and rice, or I don't know, roast meat and veg, all those things that he just doesn't eat now. Probably around 12 months he started to become picky with those things, and then maybe around 15 months-ish I've really noticed that he was getting really picky, and a lot of things he was saying no to, even things that he previously ate and enjoyed. So I sort of came to a point where, as a first-time mum, I started to feel a bit of anxiety around the whole food subject and picky eating and fussy eating. I didn't really know what to do. I thought that he's just not going to eat veggies now. What am I going to do? He's not going to get nutrition. He's going to be one of those kids that only eats, 2 things and that's it. I started to really freak out, and I learned later on when I did a bit of research that it's actually really normal around that age. Usually when they're a young toddler, so between 12 and 24 months, they're starting to really find what they like as an individual, not just doing what their parents ask of them. So it kind of makes sense that they do start to be a bit fussy with their eating and be a bit pickier than usual. So I did lots of research on the topic and I want to share it today. I've listened to podcasts, I've listened to mums, professionals talk about the subject, YouTube videos like this one, read articles, anything on fussy eating. I'm like, I gotta read that, I gotta research about that subject right now, because that is what we're dealing with. And I've learned some really great tips. So I've started to do some of these things that I've learnt, and I've also found some fun recipe ideas that not only my toddler likes and will eat, but we also enjoy. So I want to share all that today. I'm going to share my tips first, and then at the end I'm going to share some fun meal ideas and fun ways to hide veggies and extra fruit and hidden nutrients in meals. So my first tip is consistency and repetition. So kids, they see food as safe food or not safe food, pretty much. I learned this from a professional who deals with children and their eating habits, and she basically said that they need to actually see a food and try it 15 times before they decide if they like it or not. 15 times, like that is crazy. I think in the past I've tried Nate with certain foods maybe 2 or 3 times, and then if he still denies to eat it or screws his face up, I just completely I push it to the side. I don't try it again. So that has really helped me knowing that, and I'm definitely trying certain foods to give him that I wouldn't have previously done so many times now. So do know that, and do try at least 15 times to get your child to eat something if you really want them to eat that particular food. But they need to know that it's safe. It kind of makes sense, because if we were out walking through the bushes, they can't go and eat berries that end up being poisonous. They need to know that it's safe, and so it's really important that they see us eating the food, we're presenting it to them, and they know that it's a safe option. So just keep trying to give them healthy options, healthy variety. Chop something up in a different way, or add it to a meal in a different way, season it differently. Just try it again and again and again, at least 15 times. So my second tip kind of follows the first with the safe food. It's family meals. So it's really important to have as many family meals as possible, at least once a day. Typical dinner setting where the kids and the parents eat together is really great. But I mean, as many meals as you can. If you do breakfast, lunch and dinner, awesome. I know it's hard sometimes with children's schedules, trying to revolve around naps and whatnot, and they often do eat more frequently than us, and everything is sort of a bit earlier. But for us, Nate always eats his breakfast with me, and he always has almost always, sorry, has dinner with us. Sometimes if he needs to go to bed a bit earlier because he's tired, he'll eat dinner by himself earlier, but I still try to sit down with him, or maybe I'll make myself a small portion of what he's having so he can see that I'm eating the same food. So it's just another way for them to feel safe and comfortable, for them to copy us because they love to copy, and for them to know that this food is safe and they see how we eat it. Lately, Nate has been really obsessed with dipping a food in some sort of like liquid food or a sauce or something. So I've been trying to do that more with meals because he seems just really interested in it, but he's just because he's been watching us and he wants to copy us, which is quite cute. So do as many family meals as you can, because experts seem to agree, there's been studies on it, that show that children do eat better and are less fussy if they have the more family meals that they have. My third tip is to stop stressing. I know that just sounds like stupid advice, but I listened to a really great podcast about it, and she sort of explained how to do it. Basically, they feed off our anxiety, and they can see when we're stressing out about them, and you know, the more pushy that we are to try to get them to eat something, or even just take one bite, you know, we're trying to plead with them to eat their food. They feel that, they feel the stress, the anxiety in the room. They're less likely to try something the more pushy we are. So it's best just to, you know, lay out a healthy variety of options for them, and then they choose. If they don't eat anything at all, they don't eat anything at all. It took me a while to get to this point, but this is what I try to do most of the time. I give him options. He eats what he wants. If he doesn't eat his veggies, I don't stress. I don't try to bribe him into eating them. I don't try to push them. You know, I simply just ask at the end of the meal, are you all done? Would you like any more of this? And then if he says no, I move on, I clean up, and the meal is over. And I guess you're probably thinking, well, what if they like don't eat anything and now I'm stressed about them? You know, they're gonna starve. They're not gonna, if they're not eating dinner, they're gonna go to bed hungry, they're gonna wake up earlier. Of course, that is definitely something I would personally stress about as well. Apparently this is what you meant to do. This is what we've been doing, and it has worked really well. This comes straight from an expert. She mentioned in a podcast that I listened to recently that if they don't eat anything on their plate, or maybe they eat the smallest thing and you know that they're going to be hungry later, don't give them another option at dinner. If they ask for something else, you just say, no, this is our dinner, these are our options, you eat what you want and you leave what you don't want. And that's all. You don't go on and on about it. You just eat your dinner, you talk, put on some music or something, try to make the atmosphere happy. You don't want feeding time to ever feel stressed. And then, so that they aren't starving and they're not going to bed really hungry, what you do is you offer a supper later on. So you try to separate supper from dinner, maybe do some playtime or do their bath time and everything, and then give them supper. Now, supper is not their dinner. It's not something that they don't usually eat. Supper is a safe food. It's something that they usually would eat, but it's also something that's not exciting. So you wouldn't, you know, bring out the biscuits and the chocolate cake or the ice cream. You'd bring out, you know, just some toast or some cereal or something that will fill their belly, and it's basic, but you know that they will happily eat it if they're hungry. And we've been doing this. I usually offer Nate some bread or something filling. He quite likes bread. It's just like any toddler, I guess. Or maybe some banana or something like that. Just enough to fill him up. And that seems to work quite well. My fourth tip is to not put any food on a pedestal or try to downgrade any sort of food or make it seem less tasty. So when you're presenting food, I guess, or talking about it in any way, try to talk about all food equally, instead of talking about, you know, desserts as like a treat, or certain like ice cream is a special thing that we're going to have later, you know, anything like that, or trying to bribe them with that sort of food. You know, if you have 2 more bites, you can then have your ice cream. There's been lots of studies and that have happened, and of course, you know, 20 odd years ago that was like very normal. A lot of us I certainly grew up with a lot of that, and they have shown now that it's actually a really bad thing to do. We shouldn't be doing that with our children. We want them to see all food equally, and they need a good balance of all different types of food. So we don't want them, you know, thinking that they need to eat a food that they don't like to get something that they do like. They just need to see all food is equal, and they get to, it's good to give them healthy options. They can choose, you can even serve dessert up with dinner. It's something we've been doing, not that Nate at 19 months really has typical desserts. His dessert's more like some fruit or yogurt. Cheese is even a dessert for him, so anything like that really will serve a bit of that up with his main meal, and he can then just choose. That way he has some options, and he chooses how much he wants to eat of each thing. That way they're still getting lots of variety. So it's really important that, you know, they just grow up knowing that food is good and nourishing to them. They don't need to be afraid of any foods. They don't need to see certain foods as like amazing, you know, treat, dessert, whatever. There's just different, that they're just slightly different to each other. They all provide different nutrients, but we need to have a good balance of all of them. So yeah, it's really important just, I guess, to listen to our language and how we present our foods and how we talk about them in front of our children, because they do really feed off of our language and how we act. Okay, my fifth and final tip today is to rely on healthy snacks to get the nutrients up. So we all know that kids love to snack, and they need to snack. Definitely don't take away their snacks. Kids need to eat, I think, every 2 to 3 hours. I know my toddler definitely needs to eat every 2 to 3 hours or he gets cranky. So I definitely do offer snacks in between the main meals, and they're obviously smaller portion sizes than his mains. But for his snacks, I definitely do try to rely on healthier options. So, you know, your fruits, cheese, crackers, yogurts, nut butters with, he's been liking lately dates with almond butter, hummus, carrot sticks, you know, cucumber. I mean, there's so many things, there's so many healthy options out there for snacks. I could literally name a million. But try to rely more on them, because kids do like to snack, they love to graze, and sometimes they do eat better at snack time than they do at mealtime. Maybe because there's less pressure on them, you know, they're not, I mean, my son doesn't eat at the dinner table when he's eating a snack. He's usually at his little toddler table or out and about. I think that means, like, to him there's just less pressure because we're not sitting at the dinner table staring at each other, and yeah, it's just a bit more relaxed. I don't know. But snack food is pretty delicious as well, so maybe that could be why. But I definitely do try to rely on the healthier snack options, and, you know, that way if he only has a small amount of his main meal, I'm not going to stress, because I know that he's had plenty of nutrients throughout the day. He's had plenty to fill his belly. So those are all my tips. They're my 5 tips, just speaking from experience, as well as some of the things that I have personally researched. But of course, you need to do your own research. If you really do have concerns though with your child's nutrition, please speak to your doctor. Do not rely on YouTube videos. But I really do hope that that has helped you. I hope you've learned something. If there's something that you know that I haven't mentioned today that has helped your child maybe, or your toddler with their fussy eating, then please leave it in the comments below. I'd love to learn more. I'd love to, I'm still, like, anytime an article pops out talking about fussy eating, I'm like first straight on it. I want to read about it. I'm still learning, and there's probably still so much more to learn about this subject. But please put your experience in the comments below. Now, I want to share a few different meal ideas and different ways to hide extra nutrients in your child's food. And again, if there's something I haven't mentioned that you do for your toddler and they love to eat it, your whole family does, please put in the comments below with maybe the ingredients. I would love to learn more meal ideas and more ways to get healthy nutrition into Nate's body. All right, my first I guess meal idea or tip to get more nutrients in them is to rely on liquid meals sometimes, or liquid snacks. So by that I mean fresh juices and fresh smoothies. Of course, you need the equipment to do this. So for juices, you definitely need a juicer. Ours is secondhand. It's probably from the 80s, but it works so well. I think I paid $10 or something for it. It was very cheap. And it works just fine. So if you don't have a juicer, you can definitely find a secondhand one somewhere. And in our juice, I try to do the 2 fruit, 1 veg rule. So it could be an orange, an apple, and a carrot. So that's 2 fruit, 1 veg. Or it could be apple, pear, and cucumber. I know cucumber's a fruit, but it's not sweet. So those are some really good ways to get some nutrients into your toddler. Nate doesn't eat carrots or cucumber, so he does eat all the fruits, though he loves fruit. So that's a good way to get the veg nutrients into him. Smoothies, another really great one. You can do so many different smoothies. You can find so many recipes online, to be honest. But usually you start with some sort of milk, like you could do a nut milk or coconut milk or cow's milk. And then you'd add your fruit, like banana or berries or something. You can add some nuts or some nut butter or seeds. I usually always try to add a handful of spinach because it blends up really well and you can't even tell it's in there. Like, you can't taste it. It just makes the color of the smoothie a funny, like, army green color. Other than that, it tastes delicious and Nate loves them. So they're also really handy when they are sick, if they have a cold or something, or they're teething and they're sort of off solids. They do tend to still really love their liquids, especially when they have fruit in them, so they're definitely going to be quite sweet. Another one that I do is hiding veg in some pancakes. So if you've seen some of my videos, you would have seen that I make these green pancakes. It's basically just a normal pancake mix, but I add a whole banana and a huge handful of spinach, and I blend that up and I cook it, and it's so quick. It's such a quick thing to make. I make it at least twice a week now because I just use that little NutriBullet, throw everything in there, blends up, and I cook it within 10 minutes. Like, it's so quick. If Nate eats that for breakfast, I feel pretty good knowing that he is set up for the day because he's had, you know, he's got eggs in there, spinach, banana, the carbs from the flour and everything. It's all cooked in coconut oil. Yeah, so I feel pretty confident knowing he's had a good dose of nutrients already for the day. Those pancakes also make really great snacks for morning tea, afternoon tea. So definitely give them a go if your child likes pancakes. You can hide other fruits in pancakes as well, or nut butters if they're not really into nuts, although you can't really give whole nuts to toddlers. So and another one that I do is healthy baking. So if you like to bake, I love baking. If you're making like brownies or biscuits or cake or anything, you can find a way to hide veg into those things. I've made chocolate zucchini slice before, where you just grate the zucchini. That was really tasty. I couldn't even tell the zucchini was in there. It just made it really moist. There's one I do, and it's a chocolate avocado cake. I add a whole avocado into the mix and it makes it really nice and creamy. Carrot cake. There's so many. I've heard of people, I haven't done this, but I've heard of people making brownies with black beans. You could do beetroot cakes. Like, there's so many different things you could do there, and it's fun, and the child doesn't even know it's in there, and it's tasty. So definitely give that a go. And then for dinners or main meals, most toddlers love pasta. My son loves his pasta. We probably do spaghetti bolognese at least once a week now because I can hide so much veg in there. It's a great meal to do that with. But another thing that I do is just making a pot of pasta and then doing a puree veg sauce. So I'll just chop up whatever veg I'm doing and sort of make a soupy sauce with it, cook it in some stock, and then blend it up with like a stick blender just to make a nice puree. And then I'll mix it through with the pasta, and it just sort of ends up tasting like a nice pasta sauce, but there's tons of veg all pureed up in it. That way it's just a sauce. There's no chunks of veg in there, so he can't, you know, just pick out certain things. He has to eat it all. Like, he only has that one option if he wants to eat it. But the beauty about it is he doesn't even really know it's in there. It's kind of hidden, and you can flavor the sauce with, you know, garlic and tomato and everything just to taste like a normal pasta sauce. So I do that a bit as well, and it's a really good easy one to hide veg in. And that is it. They are all my meal ideas. They're all my tips that I shared. I hope that you've learned something new. I hope that that's given you some inspiration to try a different meal or a different recipe. Yeah, and as I said, if there's something I have missed, something I haven't mentioned that you know works really well for you, please pop it in the comments below. I'd love to learn more. I'd love to learn more recipes. And yeah, if you really like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up, and if you think you're gonna like what I'm bringing to the table right now, please make sure you hit subscribe to this channel and you'll see more videos similar to this one. Thanks everyone.